And polymorphism means one thing exists in many forms. There are two types, method overloading and method overriding. If I define a method with the same name, if I define more than one method with the same name, that is known as polymorphism. Okay, there are two types, overloading and overriding, that we have discussed. And there are four more concepts in OOP. Three are just theoretical definitions. One more important concept is encapsulation. Today we'll discuss on that. So the book definition for encapsulation is hiding the data from outside world. Hiding the data from outside world. In a class, how data exists, in which form we are storing the data? Through the variables, right? If you are a human being, what is the data we will store along with an human object? In this class, we are storing name and age. Name and age are nothing but the data, right? That is the information you will store. That is the information you will share for an human. If I ask you, tell me about yourself, first you will start with your name. Okay, like that, data will be stored in the form of variables. Okay, so hiding the data means hiding these variables from the outside world. Outside world means outside classes. Okay, so if you hide your data variables from the outside classes, that is known as encapsulation. Hiding means what? Hiding means restricting the access, to the outside classes. So human is my class and test objects is the outside class, that is some other class, right? Other class means outside world. Okay, so if I don't define them as private, what will happen? I can create an human object equal to new human, and I can call object.name equal to something. I can put Dev here. This is against to encapsulation. At any cost, on top of object, you should not allow access to the data variable. Directly, you should not give the access to the data variable. What encapsulation is suggesting us means hide the data. How can you hide the data means? By putting private keyword in front of it. If you make some variable as private, only within the class you can use it. In the outside classes, you cannot use it. If I try to call it now, it is saying change the visibility to package. That means it is asking to remove this private keyword. If I keep private keyword in front of a variable, then I cannot use that variable in outside classes. Okay, that's why for each and every variable, according to encapsulation, you should keep a private keyword. If you keep private keyword, then you can hide the data from outside world. Private means what? So I'm asking you something. If you say it is private to me, what does that mean? I don't want to share with anyone else. Okay, that is private to me. I don't want to share it with anyone else except me. No one is allowed to know that news. Then I will say it as private, right? Like that. Here also in a class, if I make some variable as private, in the outside classes I cannot access the variable. So if I have the data and if I am not giving the access, then it's not meaningful, right? If I have something, definitely I should share with the people. If I am storing something, if I am not sharing with anyone else, then that is useless, right? That's why encapsulation is suggesting a way for us to get the data and set the data. That's why in the first class, for each and every variable, I created getters and setters. The reason for it is, you don't give the access directly to the variable, but through setters and getters, you will give the access. So if I want to set the name, I cannot directly call object.name because I kept private keyword in front of it. I can set the name, I can put some value into it using set name. So using set name, I am allowed to do that. See, in the set name, what is happening? In the set name, we are calling this name, and whatever the name I am giving, that I am storing here. Okay, this dot name means in this name I am putting the given name. Okay, so what encapsulation is suggesting us means you should not give access to the data variables directly. But how can you hide it? By putting a private keyword in front of it. If I put a private keyword, if I am not able to call it directly, then how can I put the value means? That's why to put the data there, you should create a setter. And if you want to retrieve the value from it, you should create a getter. So for each and every variable in the class, we will create getters and setters, and those are public. If you make them as public, then only from the outside world I can use it. Okay. So we should not give direct access to the variables, data variables. We will create a getter and setter for that, and using that anyone can call it. This concept is known as encapsulation. The reason for it is, uh, if I directly give the access, what will happen? So uh, I decided like this. For human, I am asking the name. Okay. Some people can keep null value here. Null means there is no value to it. Okay. Uh, I have few guidelines. No one is allowed to give null value. If I ask name, you should give some meaningful name. You should not tell the value like null, something like that. If I ask age, everyone should provide some value. No one is allowed to give the value as 0. Those are the guidelines I have. But if I give direct access to the end user, he can put any value, right? He can put null value, he can put any value here. He can give the age as 0 and he can put the name as null. He is allowed to do anything. But if I don't give direct access, what will happen? If I make it as private, then definitely he will set the values using setters and using setters only. Object dot set name. If I make it as private, definitely he will approach in this way, right? So now he will call it like open dot set null equal to set name equal to null, open dot set age equal to 0. If we do the mistake like this, since these are methods, here I can validate the data. Here I can validate the data like this. If name equal to null. So I told you, right, system.out.println is there to print some message. If I want to print some error, there is some statement called system.error.println. So SYSO, right, shortcut for system.out.println. For this one, shortcut is SYSE. SYSE, and if you say control space, you will get this system.error.println. Here I am saying null is not allowed as a name. Here in age also, if age dot equals 0, then I will give you an error. 0 is not allowed as an age. Okay, I am giving the error statement. So if I directly give the access to the data, then I cannot do all these validations, right? But if I make them as private, definitely he will call setters to put the data into it. So while putting the data, I can validate the data. If the end user commits a mistake, then I will warn him. I will give him an error message so that he can correct the mistake. So that's the advantage you will get. That's why encapsulation is telling us, don't keep any variable as default one. If you don't keep anything, then we'll consider as default. So what encapsulation is suggesting us, for each and every variable, you should keep private in front of it. You should keep private in front of it, and you should set the data only through setters. Now see this, I did the mistakes. I gave null. If I run the program, see, it is giving me the error. Null is not allowed as the name. Sorry, set is here. Here also I should keep system.error.println. So if I run it, see, it is giving me two error messages. Null is not allowed. So the difference between system.out.println and system.error.println is both will print the messages. System. out.println will print the message with black color because that is an information. System.error.println will print the message with red color because red color always indicates mistake. It always indicates error. That's why the color will change. That is the difference. So if you are trying to give a warning or if you wanna uh, uh, share some error message with the end user, you should use system.error.println instead of system.out.println. Okay, so I will look at the message and I will understand it. Okay, null is not allowed as a name, so I will correct it. I will give Dev here. Now if I run the program, then it will give me only one mistake. 0 is not allowed as the age. So now I will make that some 26. If I run it, now I am not getting any error. So if you implement encapsulation in your program, then you don't end up with any problems. If you don't implement encapsulation, what will happen? He will directly do something. He will directly access the data. If I don't keep private here, instead of calling set name, he will directly set the data. He will directly set like this, name equal to null. Then you cannot validate it, right? If the call comes to the method, then you can validate it. But if we directly access it from outside class, then how can you validate the data? You cannot validate the data. You cannot give the error message, right? That's why encapsulation is telling us don't keep any variable as default, always keep private in front of it. So if you define something in your class, if you define any variable in the class, don't think about it, always keep private in front of it. Is it clear for everyone or do you have any doubts? Okay. Harsha, is it clear for you? Yeah, okay. Okay. So there are few more concepts. In Java. So remaining three are theoretical concept only. There is nothing to show you. So I am pinging you this link. You should go through it after this session. This page talks about OOPS concepts in Java: polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation. These three we have discussed till now. Okay, so you can refer this one. Even you are attending for interviews now, it's good to go through all the OOPS concepts. For Selenium interviews also, they will start with Java questions. If they start with Java, first they will ask you on OOPS concepts only. So you should thoroughly go through it. Polymorphism, inheritance, and encapsulation I have already explained. So this is the example for polymorphism, overloading example, overriding example, and inheritance example, and this is encapsulation. Now abstraction. So abstraction is a way of converting real world objects in terms of class. For example, creating a class vehicle and injecting properties into it. So I told you, right, you can make any kind of real world object into a class. So the process is known as abstraction. Abstraction is way of converting real world object in terms of class. So if you make vehicle as a class, that process is known as abstraction. If you make human as a class, that process is known as abstraction. If you define a class, that process is known as abstraction. So it's a theoretical definition. I cannot show you any example for that. Now, association. Fifth concept is association. So, polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation. Abstraction means conversion, conversion of real world objects into classes. That process is known as abstraction. Then fifth one is association. What does it mean by association? Association means easier relationship between two classes is known as association. So I told you, right, in inheritance, subclass extends superclass. Dog extends animal. Cat extends animal. Like that you can write. Okay. Dog extends animal. Then I can say dog is animal, right? Man extends human. Then I can say man is a human. Woman extends human. Then I can say woman is a human. So if I say dog is a animal, then that is meaningful sentence, right? Like that. What association is telling us means association will happen in between superclass and subclass. A subclass always maintain easier relationship with superclass. This is also a theoretical definition. Association means a subclass always maintain easier relationship with superclass. If something is there like uh, A extends B, then you can say A is a B. A is B. Something like that you can say. If dog extends animal, you can say dog is a animal. This easier relationship is known as association. Now aggregation. Aggregation means in a class I have variable. I have name, I have ID, I have salary. For employee, I have name, I have ID, I have salary. Those are all my data. So those are all variables in my class. Then I can say employee has a name, right? Employee has a ID, right? Employee has a salary, right? So that has a relationship is known as aggregation. Any variable in a class contains has a relationship with the class. Any subclass contains is a relationship with superclass. That concept is known as association. Every variable in the class contains has a relationship with the class. That is known as aggregation. So this association, aggregation, abstraction, these three are theoretical concepts. You just have to read it and remember it. The remaining three are we will implement in programs. Inheritance, why do we need inheritance? To eliminate the redundant code. If you have some common functionality, some common method, some common variables among several classes, then you will create a parent class in that all the common properties, all the common variables and methods will go there, and all the classes, all other classes will extend it. You will make all other classes as child classes of it, so that they can use the methods, common methods what we placed in the parent class. That is inheritance. What is polymorphism? You can define more than one method with the same name. The advantage is you don't look for new names. If the action is similar, you will provide the same name for more than one method. That is polymorphism. And method overriding is useful if you don't like your parent class implementation. I have some implementation in my parent class. If I don't like it, then I can override it. Okay, that is polymorphism. Third one is encapsulation. What does it mean by encapsulation? Hiding the data from outside world. How can you hide the data? What is the purpose of hiding it? If you don't hide the data, hiding means restricting the variables, restricting outside classes to access the variables in your class. That is known as hiding the data from outside world, because data is nothing but your variable. How can you hide the data? By making it as private. If you make it as private, how can I put the data there? By using a set method. How can I retrieve the value from it? By using a get method. So what encapsulation is telling us? Create all the variables as private and keep a setter and getter method to access the data from it or to put the data in it. Okay, that is known as encapsulation. Fourth one is abstraction. What does it mean by abstraction? Converting real world objects into classes is known as abstraction. That process is known as abstraction. Fifth one is association. What association is telling us? Each subclass maintain easier relationship with superclass. Dog extends animal means you can say dog is a animal. So that easier relationship is known as association. And what aggregation is telling us? If you create variables in a class, they contain has a relationship with that class. If I have name variable in employee, I can say employee has a name. So this has a relationship is known as aggregation. So these are all the hoops concepts we have in Java. Totally those are six. If someone asks what are all the hoops concepts, you should tell all the six names and you should explain them in detail. Okay. Is it clear for everyone? Good. Harsha, if you have any doubts, I will tell you after the class. You don't leave the meeting. Okay, I will tell you. Okay, yeah. That's it for today. It's already 9:35, right? We will meet tomorrow. And I have one request. Tomorrow I have some personal work. I have to leave after 9. Is it possible to join at 8 o'clock for Rajan and Hari? If you are able to join, then I will take the session. Otherwise, we'll skip it. Rajan, you can join. Hari, can you join at 8 o'clock? 8 p.m. IST. Hari, are you there? Hello. Okay. I created a. Okay. Okay, Rajan, I will do one thing. I will discuss with Hari and will let you know. I created a group in WhatsApp. In that, I will update you on tomorrow's class. Whether it's there or not, I will update you. Okay, man. Yeah, good. You can leave now. I will send the recording of today's class. Except Asha, everyone can leave now.